is like he didn't like me because I was fat. Like that's why he didn't like me. And girl, who if you're fat or not? That man doesn't know how to communicate.
And one day he just completely changed the script and was like, hey, like I'm very uncomfortable with you being fat.
There and try to have a conversation. When he said, I'm not feeling it, I said, okay. I say, I'm sorry, it's your weight. So he confirmed it.
We love Lizzos. We love big girls, you know?
I got called fat on a first date. Just giving me words of encouragement, right? But not one of them has said, you're not fat.
Hey guys, welcome back to More to Life. Now, before I get into this video, I ask that you like, comment, subscribe. Also, smash that notification bell just to be sure you get on my videos as soon as I release them. All right, guys. Now, today, we got women that went from confident to humbled. But this is the wild thing. There's no need to feel that humbled because you got to get in where you fit in. I'm a firm believer in that. Don't expect every guy to love you. Anyway, let's hop right into it.
Biggest things that I had to get over when I started being intimate with people and growing my confidence was the fact that some people are gonna reject you, girl. So recently I hung out with this guy. He was kind of cool, so I was like, let's hang out, let's go swimming. So we decided to go to a local watering hole and go swimming. So I picked him up at like 11 o'clock in the morning and he got in the car and he was like cute, girl. He was like dark and he was like gorgeous, like Samoan, and I was like, what a vibe. As the day went on, we did vibe, we did get on, but it wasn't like the most immaculate vibe where I was like, oh my God, like take my pants off, girl. I was like, yeah, he's cool, it was fun, you know what I mean? I could see like a little bit of potential. So we went swimming and we were talking and then I dropped him back. Anyway, he didn't like message me after to say thank you, which is so damn rude, by the way, because like I picked your and you didn't want to come and say thank you. Point of the story is that I picked him up and dropped him off and we hung out, and then he never messaged me, and then he blocked my.
I wonder why.
I feel like the universal thing with being a fat girl in those situations is like he didn't like me because I was fat. Like that's why he didn't like me. And girl, who cares if you're fat or not? That man doesn't know how to communicate.
And now I understand why.
I'd rather be fat and gorgeous, which I am, but be able to communicate my feelings, and he obviously didn't know how.
It probably wasn't that you were fat. He probably, from what I can hear right now, it's not just that you're fat. It's you sound annoying as hell. Any man that has to hear that, he's gonna go crazy.
Know how to do that. If he didn't vibe with me or he didn't like what I was giving and what I was going to happen, then he should have communicated with that with me and said, hey, I really appreciate hanging out with you. It wasn't really the vibe, getting there, being there, whatever. So good luck in the future. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what we need to learn as fat girls. It's not about how you look. It's about the other person not knowing how to communicate. And that's for anyone in general who gets ghosted. Girl, it's not about you, okay? It's about the other person not knowing how to communicate. It's normal to not vibe with someone. It's normal to meet people and not get on with them as well as you thought you would online, okay? That is so normal. That's a human interaction thing. But if you don't know how to communicate that in the end, that's your fault. And that's just embarrassing.
A lot of it had to do with her being annoying, right? And also that you're fat as well. Try to lose some weight. I know it's all about inclusion now. Everybody's included. Don't make anybody feel left out, but lose a little bit. Maybe you get treated better.
Couldn't agree more.
When I was in high school, I never dated because I was always afraid that I would be made fun of for my body or that I would be rejected because of my body. So I completely became immune to talking to boys, which I thought was what I wanted back in the day. And I ignored it. Anytime a guy would come up to me to try and get to know me or date me or whatever, I would completely just like ignore them. And I said, you know what, I need to wait until I'm emotionally and mentally ready to take a breakup or to take and handle if someone comments on my body. But I knew that at that point I was way too emotionally weak and way too insecure about my body to accept any type of criticism, comment, or even to have someone simply look at me. And just the idea of having someone look at me naked to me at that point was terrifying. So I waited until college and all my fears came true. I met this one guy and people told me immediately once I met him, they were like, hey, you shouldn't really be talking to this guy. He's not really good news. And we did it for a few months, and all of a sudden he just changed his script on me. He went from like, oh my God, you're so beautiful and perfect and blah, 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 blah. Mind you, this is the first time that I ever received any type of physical affirmations from a guy that were positive and that made me feel pretty and that made me feel desired. And one day he just completely changed the script and was like, hey, like, I'm very uncomfortable with you being fat. And it took me by surprise. I had no idea that's how he felt because I looked the same way. The day he met me till the day we broke up, I looked exactly the same. And I was my pride would not allow me to forgive. And you said, all right, that's your decision. Let's go move on. And I was way too hurt and my pride was way too strong for me to allow him to know that he had hurt my feelings.
Your pride was too strong for allow you to realize he hurt your feelings? Listen. We got to stop this, right? You have to understand, you are not going to be the cat's meow to most guys. There's an avenue for you. There is. It's the same thing with modern women, right? Feeling they deserve a guy making $200,000 a month, a year, or some women say a month, or a 6-foot tall guy that makes $200,000. It's a small percentage of men. Number one, most of those women can't get those men. Why? Because they wouldn't deal with that quality of a woman. Something's off about them. Same thing with you. You're overweight. You have to settle.
He ain't lying.
Stop setting your goals here. I know your level's here, right? But I can tell because there's a lot of guys that would date you with no problem. Go for those guys. Oh, because you feel like those guys have a fetish or they fetishize you. You feel like you're above those guys? No, you're not.
Or a friend of that we had in common calls me and says that his mom had passed away getting lipo. And it really shook me. It really shook me. I never met his mom, but he would make me talk to his mom on the phone. He'd be like, this is my future wife, like blah, 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 blah. And once I found out that he was going through this, his mother passed away, I called him and I said, hey, I heard what's going on, just to show him my love and support, even though I was still hurt about what everything done to me, but this was huge. And on the phone, he goes, hey, I just want to let you know that you should never let anyone tell you how you should feel and do with your body.
That man actually loved you. That's the wild thing. He loved you, but he couldn't get over the fact that you're morbidly obese, because you are. No shame on you, right? No shame at all. But if you want to continue being the way you are, he probably was going for it.
Wow.
Good morning. Of all the videos that I've posted on the internet, this is not the one that I expected to get all these views. This is no hate to this comment. Please do not be mean to this person. I just want to address it because I was asked this so many times. I make it very clear on my dating apps that I am plus size. I use lots of full body pictures on my profiles, and I also tell them that I'm a plus size girl and that I'm probably bigger than they expect. I don't use filters. I don't use filters on dating apps. I don't use filters on here. Sometimes I will turn on beauty mode, and for full disclosure, I did have beauty mode on yesterday, but I don't use filters. Another thing, I didn't have blush on yesterday. I literally haven't been wearing face makeup since May because I went to the beach a lot and my foundation doesn't match, and I can't afford a new foundation just for the summer. And so I haven't been wearing anything but eye makeup for months. I understand that it's difficult for everyone to date. It's not just that I'm bigger that it makes it difficult. It does suck to be fat in dating.
Absolutely.
And I have done a lot of work to neutralize the word fat. So when I say fat, please understand I don't mean ugly. I do think that I'm very pretty. I've spent this entire year trying to love myself again because I just came out of a 2-year-long toxic relationship where I kicked my ex-boyfriend out of my house in November. And so I've spent this whole year working on myself physically, emotionally, financially, mentally, all of it. And I've come a long way. I had just finished telling my friend walking into the restaurant how much I've improved and how much I love myself now versus at the beginning of the year. I just kind of started dipping my toes back into dating a little bit ago. This was just a vulnerable moment that I put out on the internet because I am very vulnerable here. I want other girls to know that they're not alone. And so I share a lot here, and this was no exception. I didn't expect this to get more than like 200 views. I do really quickly want to say that I have an incredible mom. I know in my response video to that meanie comment, the last line I said was I had a mom for that. My mom got everything right in raising me, except for my relationship with food and relationship with my body. But I was...
You know what she said? My mom did well with raising me, except for my relationship with food. This is the problem. It starts at home. Pitting McDonald's in front of your child and a TV remote is not the answer. I blame her mom and her because she got big. As you know, when you see those little kids walking around fat, how do you feel inside? Be honest. I know everyone here is sort of like a parent figure. You see, every time I see those kids walking around, I go, man, why did their parents do that to them? It turns into this. So her mom is part to blame. As a young little, think about it, a young little girl just stuffing chicken nuggets in my,
Always complaining. It's hot. I'm hungry.
barbecue sauce. I need more. And the sauce is making her fatter. And the mom did it to keep her out of the way. Sad.
Raised in the middle of a toxic diet culture, and my mom got everything else right, and I'm very close to her and I love her very much, and so I do wish I would have edited that part out of the video, but I think a lot of other women my age can probably relate because they were raised in...
She's right. She should have edited that part of the video because it's a lot of your mother's fault. You probably should have edited it out.
a similar climate. This person was respectful of my time. I will agree with that. However, when he pulled me outside of the restaurant, there was a group of about 15 people waiting for their tables to be put together to go inside. And so there were less people inside than outside of the restaurant at this point. So it would have been less embarrassing to just tell me in the restaurant than to pull me outside in front of those people. And I knew some of those people. And as I walked away, because I didn't sit there and try to have a conversation, when he said, "I'm not feeling it," I said, "Okay." And I started walking to my car, and then I heard him say, "I'm sorry, it's your weight." So he confirmed it.
He called.
Other than getting raped and murdered, this is kind of a worst case scenario in dating, right? You get out of the car and you're like giving yourself the pep talk to walk up there to this stranger, and you're like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, he could walk away as soon as he sees me. But that actually happened to me. And this person, we've been talking for a couple of weeks, and we talked on the phone for 3.5 hours the night before, and I told him again on the phone that I was plus size, and that he told me that that wasn't a problem for him, and that he didn't think that it was fair that I felt the need to keep saying that, just so that he was aware. Anyways, I am so thankful to all of the wonderful comments that I got. I am blown away by the kindness of strangers constantly. I've never felt so mortified than when I was walking back to my car yesterday, and I've never felt so uplifted than when I woke up this morning to the thousands of comments telling me that I was beautiful and that I was worthy. And I don't need people to tell me that I'm worthy. I know where my worth comes from, but it doesn't hurt to hear it either. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
That's the problem. You see that? It's not that she's not beautiful. I think she's a very pretty girl, right? People need to be honest. This is what's happening, especially in the West, right? I'll tell you what happens here in the Philippines, right? You're a little bit overweight. You go to the province, they will let you know about it. They let you know. Oh, you got so fat. You're getting bigger. Oh, you're eating good. You're eating good out there. And they held accountable. Yeah, the guy probably did it to hurt her feelings a little bit, but she's facing accountability at an older age for what she did when she was younger, and it's lasted on. You got to make some changes.
I said, okay, and I started walking to my car, and then I heard him say, I'm sorry, it's your...
Damn, this video hit me so hard. She says in the video, this is kind of your worst fear in dating, to show up to a date and somebody sees you and walks the other direction. And as a plus size person, this has certainly held me back from dating like my entire life. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people on TikTok. And you know, it's tough in these situations because you can't really fault somebody for just not being attracted to you. And I think we have a real culture that hates wasting time. So it makes sense for people. A lot of people are just going to say, I don't want to waste your time. I'm going to tell you straight up that you don't look like your pictures to me, or I think you're a catfish, or whatever. You know, it's okay. You're not their type. They told you right away. You could see that as doing a kindness. And she does say that in the video. But there are other elements of this situation that make it very clear this man was not being kind, and he is completely at fault for this. And I don't usually fault people for like, oh, you didn't like them, you rejected them, it's fine. But in this case, I do fault him, and there are a few reasons for this. And so I just want to explain that because I think it's like pretty nuanced when you're dating and you maybe aren't attracted to the person in the end or whatever. Like, but what are the things that I will fault you for? What are the ways in which this man actually did treat her like absolute and I hate his guts and I want him to pay? Anyway, they met on a dating app. She's posted all of her dating app profiles, and you can completely tell her body size from them. There is no question. And it is on this man. If he didn't scroll through the photos, if he didn't look at her photos and only looked...
Now, she gets on a man for saying he didn't scroll through the photos. I got to tell you how men, he saw a picture, right? Said, oh, she's good enough. He said to her, hey, stop saying about yourself. Why? Because most women, oh, you know, and she'll be slim. That's what he's thinking in his head. Oh, she's doing the same thing. He didn't know she was morbidly obese, just Miss Fat Nasty. He didn't know that. How could he tell? Every woman does it. So he went along. Now, was he rude after the fact? Yeah, I think he was a little bit rude. But that's who he is. Life goes on.
I got called fat on a first date. It has taken me like 2 weeks to process that it even happened to me, right? I went through the 5 stages of grief. Or so I thought. Because this past weekend, when I started telling my friends and my family about what happened to me, about being called fat, right? And I just told another friend right now, and all of them have like the same response of like, oh, like you'll find someone, don't worry, like who says that was so rude, you know, just giving me words of encouragement, right? But not one of them has said you're not fat.
It's not like we mean to lie.
It's delusional.
No one has told me, like he told the truth, I guess.
Of course he told the truth. You're fat. But this is what I'm going to say. I said in the beginning of the video. You gotta get in where you fit in. Because I'm taking a look at these guys here. And they let it be known. They love big girls.
It became a thing in my community where, like, you know, we love Lizzos. We love big girls, you know? If I call a girl a Lizzo, you know, she's a beautiful big queen. She's a BBQ. Yeah. So that's what I think in my eyes. I love my barbecue. But
the man loves his barbecue. She's a BBQ. Some guys want that. Take a look at these brothers here.
Quick question. What's the best thing about speaking or dating a bigger woman?
I feel like you have more size, so more to play with, you know, like, you
what a grab on another Caribbean coming out! Ooh, okay. Big up Jay. Look at his beautiful hair, yeah? So all the bigger women, show us love. Okay.
Another guy. This is him again.
The actual reason why I like big girls. The reason I like big girls, yeah, I go gym personally. I ain't sucking Larry Wheels out here, but man's built. Man's got a little bit of muscle and that, you know what I mean? And the reason why I like big girls, yeah, they feel more womanly. they're more womanly. They look more. I just like to grab something. I don't want to be slipping. Yeah, I like a bit of. I don't know what it is, but yeah, like growing up, I was like into skinny girls or whatever. But then when you look at skinny girls, you think, oh, what the it's like chicken bones. I like my meat, you know what I mean? So yeah, I like to bite something.
You hear the way he's talking about? I like my meat. I like skinny girls like chicken bones. Go, and these guys not that bad, right? I mean, come on now. This is your lane right here.
All right, nephew, quick lesson. I love big girls. But you know the big girls I like? The ones that are done having kids. Because if you knock a big girl up, she just gonna get bigger. Then that's a wrestling match you will not win.
My man is stupid. He's right, though. He's 1,000,000% right. That's a match you won't win. But here's a big girl that knows what she fits in.
Think about it some more. They have those big, buff, hard bodies, and you're as soft as a pillow. Girl, stop being shy with the men, okay? Them big men love you guys, okay? I be lifting with the men. They be talking about, come here, big girl. Why they bench pressing? Child, they want you.
I think she's right. I mean, the guy said he lift weights. He likes big girls. I think the buff guys like the big girls. You have a lane with a guy that looks like something. That's your lane. Go play in that lane. But yeah, guys, that's the only thing. More, you're included. You have to get in where you fit in. And women gotta stop being that way. Oh, I want a man like this. You see the same thing with big girls, you see the same thing with small girls. Everybody wants more than they're qualified for. And you're not qualified for that. Right? And a guy's not gonna lower how he feels for you. And you need to understand that. But yeah, until you do, they're gonna keep going everywhere else because they realize it's definitely more to life than getting a woman like that.
We agree.